Temps will be part of the forecast.
We don't know what the weather is going to be like around here. I do get really anxious during storms.
That's why they chose HailGuard. When performance leads, confidence follows. Backed by the first and only asphalt shingle system with a hail warranty.
That just gives us more peace of mind.
This is the only asphalt product on the market that has the manufacturer warranty targeting the hail damage, and it gives me a lot of confidence as a contractor.
Engineered for enhanced impact performance. Built to protect homes and reputations. HailGuard shingles. Built for hail.
All righty, crew, a scattering of severe thunderstorm warnings this afternoon that have been up over the Palmer Divide off to the northwest and northeast of Colorado Springs. I am Matt Meister. You are on Peaks to Plains Weather. This thunderstorm update and severe weather coverage sponsored by Tamco Building Products. HailGuard shingles beyond Class 4. We jump in with Tamco Live Radar this afternoon. And across the northern tier of El Paso County, we have a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings, a flash flood warning just on the north side of the county line in Douglas and Elbert County. Storms moving into an environment where they are going to be strong this afternoon, the yellow shaded areas where a severe thunderstorm watch is up through 8 o'clock this evening. There are some additional thunderstorms over Fremont County, over western Los Animas County to the west of Trinidad on the Highway of Legends. We'll come back to those in a second. First things first, though, the newest severe thunderstorm warning is for northeastern El Paso County. It does include Calhan. This is in effect until 3 o'clock. You can see that the storm is kind of straddling the county line there. Let's zoom in on that one and do a little bit of analysis with it. This one may have some hail around an inch in diameter right now, kind of along Rama Road, just off to the west of Calhan Highway and off to the northeast of Sweet Road, right on the Elbert and El Paso County line. This storm could also be producing some wind gusts that may be over 40 miles per hour. Let me pull that up here for you, and let me change this color table. And you can see that some of the strongest wind is kind of on the southern flank of this storm. Right here is an outflow boundary, and the wind not particularly strong at this moment, but we'll keep an eye on that. Some of the wind gusts we're measuring right now only around 20 miles per hour up on the high end of things. But as I said, this storm is also producing the threat here for some hail that is around an inch in diameter. And I mentioned that storms would do this. They'll get to a window here where they can produce some hail, then they'll weaken a little bit and the wind threat will come up a little bit. The storm is moving off to the east at about 20 miles per hour. So heads up for Rama. If I grab the biggest part of the core right now, it is moving your direction and will be toward you a little bit after 3 o'clock. You'll start to see the rain pick up out ahead of that. And so you've got the next 45 minutes or so where we will keep an eye on this. So again, this is off to the north of Calhan, right on the Elbert and El Paso County line. This storm is moving toward Rama, and it is located off to the northwest of Calhan by, I think last time I measured it was about 8 miles. Let me keep an eye on that. Yeah, so about 7 right now as it has moved just a little bit. If you would like to come on, be part of our coverage. Maybe you're in Black Forest and you see this storm off to your east. Maybe you're in Calhan, you see it off to the north. You can do so by using one of the links that we have here. One of the other things we are going to watch with this storm is the potential for some localized flooding to develop. Certainly the ponding of water and getting really muddy on some of the dirt roads out in this area. The rain rates have been between 1 and 1.5 inches in about 30 minutes time. In fact, speaking of rain with this system, we do have a flash flood warning a little bit off to the northwest of where this severe thunderstorm warning is currently located. And that flash flood warning is in effect until 4:30. Why is that the case? Well, there has been some really heavy rain in southwestern Elbert County. In fact, if we query how much rain has been in here, radar is showing between 2 and 3.5 inches of rain. There may have been a little bit of hail that was in there as well, but some of the creeks that kind of flow off to the south here, or off to the north, excuse me, in this area, may be running high. Kiowa Creek may be picking up some increase in flow. They're doing some bridge work on the west side of Kiowa on Highway 86, so that could impact the workers in that area. But again, that flash flood warning is up until 4:30 this afternoon. Then we still have a severe thunderstorm warning for the northwestern part of El Paso County and the northeastern section of Teller County. It does include Woodland Park, Monument, and Palmer Lake. Now, the hail threat has dropped with this. I told you that it'd be real small, about 15-minute windows where we might get some 1-inch diameter hail. Let's check the wind with these storms here, because last time we looked at these about half hour ago, we didn't have an overly clear threat. But we are seeing some wind pick up here coming down the eastern slopes of the Rampart Range now. And let me check that here just off to the southeast of Woodland Park, about 30 miles per hour. So that storm, that cluster of storms there, I would say kind of below severe levels at the current time. Something we'll watch for, though. But we're also getting some good rain. Good rain around Falcon. Ellicott getting some good rain. There are updrafts going up all over the place. Across the Pikes Peak region, in the vicinity of Castle Rock, we've got a storm rolling through northeastern Douglas County. If you are traveling up to Denver in the next hour or so, making your way up to some concerts, I know AC/DC is at Invesco Field this evening. you'll deal with these storms. The good news for you is that these storms should be east of Denver by the time the concerts kick off this evening. So I think that is some good news. You're on Peaks to Plains weather here at 2:38 on this Tuesday afternoon. Our storm coverage sponsored by Tamco HailGuard shingles. Let's take a look at what else is happening. We still have a flash flood warning up for the Aspen Acres burn. No rain now, but we did have parts of the fire west of Highway 165 on the eastern slopes of St. Charles Peak that picked up about an inch of rain. We have some stronger thunderstorms developing off to the west of Trinidad right now, this in the vicinity of the Spanish Peaks, here off to the southwest of Walsenburg, off to the west of Trinidad. Weston, we're catching some rain. In the vicinity of Bon Carbo, we've got some rain falling this evening. Those storms will keep moving off to the east. The Sheepshead Fire off to the north of La Vida Pass is going to catch a storm that's developing right on top of the mountains right now. And we've got some pretty good thunderstorm activity in northern sections of Custer County and south central sections of Fremont County here to the east of Highway 69, the south of Highway 50. We'll watch for Canyon City, maybe Florence, to see if these storms roll in your direction here over the next little bit. But you can see they're kind of impinged up against the higher terrain right now. So this will be an area that we watch for the potential for some flooding issues, because the rain with these storms today is coming down at a really, really good clip here. We've got water aloft. We've got water at the surface. Start talking about what happens for the rest of the day. And to do that, I will show you where the area of high pressure is currently located. It's been over northeastern New Mexico, and there is a very clear wave moving across Colorado today. We call this a short wave that is sort of riding the ridge of high pressure. And as that keeps moving off to the east through the evening, it is going to drive the thunderstorm activity with it. And that's one of the reasons we have the severe thunderstorm watch that's up over the Palmer Divide in northeastern Colorado. So it's going to keep rolling in this direction and will drive the storms with it. Look ahead a little bit farther to tomorrow. We've got another day of thunderstorm activity on the way, because there's a little wave back here over Arizona with some additional water. That'll be rotating around the area of high pressure for tomorrow. So these 2 days are our biggest kind of window here for thunderstorm activity. So we have a flash flood watch that's up for the Aspen Acres fire. That started at noon. And we have a flood watch that is up for Lincoln County, eastern Elbert County, up across northeastern Colorado. Starts at 3 o'clock, and the storms will be moving into that area at about that time. We have a couple that are developing in southern Lincoln County now. And even though we don't have a flash flood watch, we do have 2 flash flood warnings. In fact, a new one that has been issued here for northern Teller County and northwestern El Paso County. Let me go back to the radar so we can take a look at those here and check things this afternoon. Let me fire back over to the west. This new flash flood warning does include areas just to the north of Woodland Park. It does include Palmer Lake, and it does include parts of the Tri-Lakes area, specifically Monument here. This is in effect until 5:45. Over the last 3 hours, you can see the heaviest rain has been off to the north of Woodland Park. There's a little bit of a lag in this product, though. Let me see if the 1 hour is processing it a little bit faster. And it is here. You can see where those 2 cores with the thunderstorms were and how much rain they have put down. So just to the northwest of Woodland Park, we're estimating between 1 and 2 inches of rain. Obviously, we need that. That is welcome. But when it comes down in about 45 minutes, it can be a little bit too much. And then a core on the north end of the Air Force Academy, south end of the Tri-Lakes area, and that bright green also showing between 1 inch and 1.5 inches. So if you live along a creek in this area, some of the tributaries coming out of the hills that flow into Monument Creek, be aware that those will be rising here over the next little bit. You can see those off to the west of the interstate here, to the south of 105, and up to the north of the Cadet area. So this is off to the west of the Glen Eagle neighborhood on the north side of the Colorado Springs metro area. And then here just to the northwest of Woodland Park on Highway 67, we have had some pretty significant rain as well. So if you're camping in this area, and you're in a low spot, just be aware that you may have to seek some higher ground. Flash flooding can occur very quickly and can change. Oftentimes, the easiest thing to do in the mountains is just climb up the hillside. That'll get you away from some of the rain in the low-lying areas. It's kind of a last-ditch effort, but something that I always like to pass on. If you are in one of these spots and you've got some significant weather happening where you are, please let me know about it here. You can come on and you can be live with us here on Peaks to Plains Weather anytime we're doing live coverage. I've got Mornings with Meister that I do every morning, Monday through Friday at 6:30. You're welcome to come on here. This is Peaks to Plains Weather, our weather together, and that's what it's all about, neighbors helping neighbors. And we certainly got some significant rain coming down here over the Palmer Divide this afternoon. Catching some out around Falcon, around Ellicott. You can see here just to the north of Highway 94, to the east of Highway 24. Storms developing over the southern flanks of Pikes Peak now, off to the southeast of Victor that we'll keep an eye on. Canyon, those storms off to the southwest are getting a little bit closer to you. You're all probably going to pick up some rain here over the next little bit. And then here's our ongoing flash flood warning that we have for the Aspen Acres fire. Let me take you through the afternoon and show you how things are likely to move from this point forward. As we hit the afternoon and evening, the storms will keep rolling off to the east, like I said, being driven by that wave. And so I think concerts in the Denver area, if we catch a thunderstorm, they're not going to be severe this evening. It's this main first round that we are watching for. And you see how there's kind of some broken line segments out across the eastern plains. It's because when you get these clusters of storms producing heavy rain, you often get strong outflow wind associated with these storms as well. And we'll keep them around until the late evening, early morning hours of Wednesday. So after the dinner hour, things will get quieter along the Front Range. We'll have to shift our focus gradually eastward here throughout the remainder of the afternoon and then into the evening. So that's where we sit right now. You are on Peaks to Plains Weather. This is our weather together. V says that we are getting thunder and lightning with a bottle of rain in Woodland Park. I think that is a fantastic little visual cue for us about how hard things are coming down out there this afternoon. V, I appreciate you sharing that with us here. And yeah, it is coming down in a big way. There is no doubt about that. So the severe thunderstorm warning, as we transition back to TAMCO Live radar, has been allowed to expire off to the northwest of Colorado Springs, but a flash flood warning is up through the afternoon. Again, that does include Monument. It does include Palmer Lake. It does technically include Woodland Park, where we have, as I showed you about 5 minutes ago, estimating between 1 and 2 inches of rain has fallen. That flash flood warning is up until 5:45 this afternoon. Biggest window here for some flash flooding is going to be in the next 90 minutes. We'll keep an eye on that. Flash flood warning continues for southeast Douglas, southwestern Elbert County. This is where the heaviest rain has been, and radar is estimating more than 3 inches of rain, where you see that kind of darker red showing up in the southwestern part of Elbert County. There are other storms that are moving toward that area. So heads up in that location, especially if you've got some water that's ponding around now when this next round gets here. It might make things a little bit more difficult for you. And a severe thunderstorm warning for northeastern El Paso County, including Calhan, including Rama. This is in effect until 2:46. We'll zoom in on this cell and see where the most likely hail is now. It's just off to the northwest, the north and northwest of Calhan by about 2 to 3 miles or so off to the west. There's probably a bunch of small hail in this as well. And if I put the hail analysis here on there, you can see that the hail size being analyzed has dropped a little bit from when the warning was first issued. So right on the kind of along Rama Road, just to the north here of, let me zoom in a little bit and see what road we've got there, Zuris Road, and to the west of Fairplays, where we may have had some hail over an inch in diameter. Don't have any reports of that as of yet. Let me check that feed from the Weather Service. Yeah, we don't have anything that has been reported as of yet. So if you have something, you can send it to us here at Peaks to Plains Weather. You can use the Peaks to Plains Weather app, and you can send us some information. So let me show you that while we are doing live coverage here. Let me show you a couple of things about the Peaks to Plains Weather app that I always like to pass on. And I'm going to open up my app here on my phone, and then I will bring you into that. So let me go down to where I can pop my phone in here with us. All right, so here is the Peaks to Plains Weather app. Have notifications on there about the live coverage that we are currently doing. And of course, the 24-hour channel, where if I hit play on that, I would see myself, so I don't want to do that. But when we do live coverage, that's where it is. I want to go to the weather map here on the bottom. And so I have on my thing down here at the bottom a bunch of different customizable things that I have done. I'm going to put Matt's storms on here, and you can see all of the different chord detections from the computer model. You can click on those, and you can get some information about the storms that the storm is analyzing there. You can see what direction it's going. You can see some of the impact with it. I've got lightning turned on there as well. If I go back here, I can look at clouds and radar in the past or in the future. There is a past and future button in the bottom left-hand corner that I like to make people aware of. So the past is satellite and radar, and I can loop that over the last about 2.5 or 3 hours, and I can see how things have developed this afternoon. Then if I put it on the future, I can take from where we are right now and kind of roll things forward with time. So that's really helpful as we start to look at what is going to happen here into the evening. So again, it's highly customizable. I've got lightning here on there. You can see some of the lightning strikes that we have had over the last little bit. And then if you scroll all the way over to the right, you can use this plus here. You can turn different things on, and then you can save it, give it a name. Next time you come into the Peaks to Plains app, it'll be there for you. So that is highly, highly useful, and something that I try to point out when I have the opportunity, because I know some of us are hesitant to get in there and push things and do some things. In the bottom right-hand corner, you can send us a picture or a video. And you can do that there. It'll use your email to send us something. You can just open your camera directly from the app, or you can go into your gallery and you can send it to us, and then we can use that coverage here on Peaks to Plains Weather. So that is part of what is useful in the Peaks to Plains Weather app, and something that I like to pass on to you here. My buddy Jim Martin is joining us here. He is on the southwest side of Colorado Springs. Jim, what do you have going on this afternoon where you are?
Oh, just a little drizzle, overcast. It's delightful for the grass and the trees and the flowers.
Has it cooled off quite a bit?
It has, but that darn humidity is making me still perspire a little bit too much.
And what? Well, you got your tropical shirt on, so that's appropriate. What are you just wandering around doing here? Is this aimless wandering, like a break in the middle of the day, or what?
No, I just was checking weather. It is a break in the day. I saw you online. I was like, well, I better log in and see what he's telling us. But then I thought I'd come out and check and see watch the grass grow, I guess.
Well, I always appreciate that, Jim. Let me pull up here what you've got going on where you are. And all right, let's do that. Let's fade this over. There you are. Let's see. Let's come down to your house on the southwest side of town. You're just getting some weak rain compared to everybody else, kind of as you reported there. There is a thunderstorm off to your southwest, Jim. I'll keep my fingers crossed and hope it hits your house so you can use your brand new rain gauge. How about that?
There you go. I like it. I got 4 of them, and they're all inconsistent. So must be user error.
Well, at least you know what the problem is, Jim. At least you know what the problem is. Thanks for checking in with me here this afternoon from the southwest side of Colorado Springs. I love that man so much. I give him so much of a hard time about what he's doing with his rain gauges in his yard. But you can see the northern half of El Paso County certainly doing better than the southern half in terms of heavy rain right now. In fact, it's been heavy enough that we do have multiple flash flood warnings that are up for the northern part of the county, also just to the north of the county line here, across southeastern Douglas County and southwestern Elbert County. Let's check the last hour on the rain accumulation and see if these amounts have updated a little bit. I mean, that's a pretty good swath there of some inch-plus rain where you see the brighter greens to the north of Woodland Park. And then across the Tri-Lakes, we are seeing heavier rain amounts start to show up in this 1 hour calculation from the radar. So if you start talking in along the foothills of the Rampart Range there, an inch or so of rain in 45 minutes, obviously that's going to rush down to Monument Creek really, really fast. And that's one of the reasons that the Weather Service has issued a flash flood warning for the northern parts of El Paso County. Also catching some good rain here in south central Fremont County to the east of Highway 69 and to the south of Highway 50. These storms are in an area where we've got some mountains back there to the southwest of Canyon City. Of course, this is in the vicinity of the Royal Gorge that you can see here off to the northeast of where the heavier rain has been. That's the gorge right there. And those storms are drifting off to the northeast, so that's an area that we will keep an eye on through the course of the afternoon as well. So before I wrap up this coverage, we will do kind of a recap. We'll zoom in on the couple of severe thunderstorm warnings that we've got going on. A new one on the southeast side of the Denver metro moving out of Aurora and the Parker area. That one producing some strong wind, maybe some hail around an inch or so in diameter, and get you set for an afternoon that will bring a continuation of severe thunderstorm threat here with a severe thunderstorm watch that's up until 8 p.m. this evening. Of biggest concern in El Paso County, in addition to the flash flood warnings, is the storm that is in the vicinity of Calhan now and has been kind of moving to the south a little bit and may interact with that cluster of storms that's been getting stronger farther to the south. Keep a real close eye on how those two things interact. But this hail core is getting closer to the Calhan area here. And this hail could be up around an inch or so, an inch and a half or so in diameter now as I look at this here, about 1.3 miles off to the northwest of Calhan. So heads up in Calhan. The southern end of this storm has been making a little bit of a run to the south, and you can see new radar coming in there, getting a little bit stronger. So let me put the hail detection on this for you. And yeah, it has picked up here, as I thought would be the case. Showing around an inch now. This product lags behind a little bit with this new radar frame that just came in. The hail detection is going to bump up a little bit on that. The echo tops with this storm aren't particularly high this afternoon. We're running between 45 and 50,000 feet for most of these storms, but you can see where all of those individual cores are there, and that's where the heaviest of the rain is happening this afternoon. Radar scans the sky in 3 dimensions, and we can use that and integrate that together to estimate how high the cloud tops are, or the echo tops anyways, which with thunderstorms does match the top of the clouds there. So that currently is running about 45 to 50,000 feet, which for the time of year in a monsoon environment is pretty high. So we've got a hail core off to the north of Calhan. We also have some strong storms here coming out of the Denver metro area, around the Pinery, around Parker, like I said, moving off to the southeast of Aurora. This is to the south of Interstate 70. This is going to move across northern Elbert County, and also parts of eastern sections of Arapahoe County off to the southeast of Denver. That severe thunderstorm warning is in effect this afternoon until 3:30. So we've got about another 30 minutes with those, and this is mainly for some strong wind, as we said would be the case with some of these storms this afternoon. So we're watching this Callahan storm really, really close. If I was in Callahan, I'd get indoors away from windows there. We are seeing some extremely heavy rain here with this cell as well. A lot of us are going to get more than an inch of rain with this cell, as it hasn't been moving very fast. It's kind of been drifting south, if anything. In fact, there were two updrafts in here that kind of merged. See that? They do a little bit of a Fujiwara. So there's one that went up over Callahan, kind of merged with one that was coming out of the flash flood warning area, and then a little Fujiwara back into the Callahan area right now. So when you get two updrafts to interact, they can strengthen, and that's sort of what's happened here off to the northwest of Callahan. But that thing looks like it's going to roll right into town right now, and maybe bring you guys some pretty large hail, maybe around the size of ping pong balls. So heads up for you in the Callahan area. That latest frame is really, really impressive. In fact, let me do a slice of this storm here, and it'll give us a better idea of kind of what is happening in the mid-levels of the atmosphere. And so, yeah, you can see there is a hail core aloft right now with that cell. And that has to fall out yet. So there is some lofted hail at about 10,000 feet that is yet to fall out of the storm. And you can see the anvil here off to the east. So if you are east of Callahan and it's not raining, you are looking up at what's called the vault of the storm. And that's a pretty impressive one. In fact, that is the strongest storm we have had thus far today in terms of reflectivity from radar. The other thing that we are going to get with that is some really hefty rain. Let me put the last hour on here, because it calculates a little bit quicker. And let me zoom in on that storm in the Callahan vicinity. And so we are over estimating between 1 and 2.5 inches of rain. There has been some hail with that, so that can overdo the estimations a little bit, but not as much as used to happen before we had dual pole radar. But right on the county line there, very hefty rain, so we'll see if a flash flood warning gets issued for that area also, which is a possibility. This would be to the north of Callahan. All of this going to flow kind of in two directions, right on the spine of the Palmer Divide there. Some of it will flow south, some of it will flow north. The Palmer Divide divides the Arkansas River Valley from the South Platte River Valley, which runs out of the Denver area across northeastern Colorado. And of course, the South Platte heads off to the northeast on Interstate 76. So we'll be kind of splitting up where that water is going to roll. So it's turned to a real busy afternoon here, and Cass says, yeah, it is looking pretty dark here in Callahan. That is not surprising to me at all. Melissa's like, I want in on some of the action. It's dry here in Fountain. AC taking a break. And Green Bay Barb says, what kind of PWatt values, she's a weather nerd, are we experiencing in southern Colorado right now? We're running about 140% of average. Barb. So that's why we're seeing the really, really heavy rain here. And Susan says, thanks for the info. You are most welcome, Susan. So pretty busy here this afternoon, my friends. I am going to take the Weather Service putting a considerable tag now on this Callahan storm. That's what the black line around that severe thunderstorm warning means. And there's also a new severe thunderstorm warning that's been issued in southeastern Elbert County, approaching Pumpkin Center. So we've got some new stuff to do here. I was going to take a short break, but we're not going to do that. We got to keep rolling on. New severe thunderstorm warning until 3:30. This does include Highway 94 and Highway 71. That is Pumpkin Center. This storm moving east at about 15 miles per hour. Some strong wind, some hail around 1 inch in diameter for you guys. And then the update on this storm here in northeastern El Paso County that, like I said, does have a considerable tag with it now. And what that means is that there is the threat for some very large hail, as we had just analyzed. Could be some 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts as well, and some hail around the size of $50. We are also seeing this area expanded to include these storms that are just to the north of Ellicott. And these storms are moving toward each other. So there will be in the next hour a flood threat that develops over northeast El Paso County as those two storms run into each other. We're getting outflow boundaries now out ahead of these storms here this afternoon. You see that thin line on the radar. That's one of the reasons we've got, the threat of some really strong wind out there today. Let's stop this loop and let's put the velocity on here and analyze how strong the wind is right now with this storm here. And let's see. On the south end of the outflow of this cluster, got some wind, nothing obscene as of yet, which is good news, but the potential may increase over the next little bit. So I'm not measuring anything at the moment that is particularly strong, but doesn't mean we're not going to get some here, given what these storms are doing. And let me kind of get back here and set that up. So if you're in Calhan, get away from windows. That hail core's coming down out of the storm now. You can see how that blue went away and we're back to sort of the pink and magenta colors. But the rain rates in these areas are between 1 and 1.5 inches per hour, and we've seen that already this afternoon. Just to the east of Cathedral Pines, we are seeing some additional thunderstorm activity. Some of these updrafts are kind of bubbling here this afternoon. They're going up and collapsing. That means there's a bunch of instability out there. That may actually be helping some of these storms from getting a little bit stronger than they might otherwise be. But out on the leading edge where the air is better is where we have the strongest of the storms right now. So those of you in Calhan, Cass, if you're in Calhan, let me know what you got there as that storm, I think, gave you a direct hit. Noom is asking in Pueblo what we are going to get. So let's take a focus on that. We've got some storms back here over Fremont County. So we are several hours away in all likelihood of catching some storms. And what we will watch for in Pueblo County is the lift in the mid-levels of the atmosphere associated with the wave. These storms are on the tail end of the short wave I was talking about. And the outflow from these storms up to the north, because that's going to drop south over the next 90 minutes. And by the time that's getting into Pueblo County, these storms are going to be moving east. And so we'll see an increase in activity for the balance of the afternoon. So it's a really good question and a good heads up. In fact, all of these storms are going to roll off to the east here for the remainder of the afternoon into the evening. And Skycast, like it's been doing the last couple of days, underdoing the coverage a little bit. But it has the right idea on the shifting east into the evening with the upper level wave. And you can see that it does pick up on some storms in the Pueblo area here. And then we kind of shift everything off to the east through the course of the evening. So for those of us that don't have severe thunderstorms right now, we may get some thunderstorms, whether they are severe or not. We will monitor through the afternoon. Just to give you a recap, a severe thunderstorm warning for the Calhan area. Rama is included with this in northeastern El Paso County. A severe thunderstorm warning as we look at Tamco live radar in the southeastern corner of Elbert County and kind of on the elbow there of Lincoln County at Highway 71 and 94 in Pumpkin Center. Also, severe thunderstorm warning, second one of the day to the north of Kiowa. That one includes Arapahoe County as well to the south of Interstate 70. And all of this is going to shift eastward. Flash flood warnings for northern Teller County, northwestern El Paso County. Another flash flood warning just to the northeast of there. And it's very possible, in fact, I would expect that we'll get a flash flood warning for this cluster of storms here across northeastern El Paso County as well. That will probably be coming. Cass, answering my question, said just heard hail hitting my roof. So Cass, I hope where you are, it's not too big. I really hope that's not the case. Those strong storms we were looking at in Fremont County and northern Custer County have now caused the issuance of a flash flood warning for this area. Again, we were measuring this about 15 minutes ago, so we were a little ahead of the game there, between 1 and 2 inches of rain. This flash flood warning is in effect until 6 o'clock, this evening. So if you are in this area, you should be ready to seek higher ground at a moment's notice. Pay attention to your surroundings. If you live along a creek in particular, be aware that those waters may rise. There may be ponding of water on the road. And if you're driving on Highway 69 between West Cliff and maybe heading toward Texas Creek, you will be impacted by some of that flowing water as well. So that's a new one. That's radar indicated until 6 o'clock this evening. So man, oh man, it has gotten busy here, crew. So that's kind of the situation. That's where we are. Dan is asking about Sand Creek High School over the next couple of hours. Maybe he's got some outdoor activities, maybe a football practice or something like that, Dan. Not sure, but you can see that storms are developing kind of in the vicinity of you, just to your south right now. But there is a line of storms coming off of the Rampart Range. All of this has to move through before I could give you the all clear at Sand Creek High School. In fact, that's for any activities in the Colorado Springs metro area over the next little bit. Pueblo West, Pueblo, you can do something now, but a little bit later on, we'll have some stuff to do. And then everybody out over the plains is like, I want some rain. It's coming. It'll be moving your way here through the evening. So 3:10 now on Peaks to Plains weather. A lot going on. I'll take a short break. I will come back in. Those of you in the Calhan area, the strongest storm now moving off to the southeast of you, to the north of Ellicott. Heads up between Highway 94 and Highway 24. You are going to get some torrential rain over the next hour, and it's very possible that a flash flood warning will be issued for your area. When that happens, if you have your location turned on in the Peaks to Plains weather app, you'll get a digital shoulder tap for us, but I'm just giving you an early heads up about that. So there you go. Lots going on this Tuesday afternoon. You are on the home of our weather together. This is Peaks to Plains, and we do more live coverage. I will pop back on and let you know about that. For now, I'll take a short little break. I'm going to hydrate a little bit, get the air conditioner turned back on in the studio, and we'll keep an eye on things as we head through the afternoon. So probably at about 3:30, I'll hop back on here. And again, you can track all of these storms yourself in the Peaks to Plains weather app.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed His grace on thee.
Here's to 150 years of the state we call home.